Elite Expert Insider, the podcast that educates, inspires, and motivates you to take your business and life to the next level. We would like to thank Audible for supporting Elite Expert Insider. Please go to the link bit.ly/Elite Audible. That's bit.ly/Elite Audible and get a free 30-day trial to show your support. Thank you, Audible. Now to Elite Expert Insider for conversations with industry leaders.
Hi, it's Melanie Johnson here for another great podcast. We have my partner in crime, Jenn Foster. Hey, Jenn, how you doing today?
Great. How's it going?
Terrific. And we want to remind you that we are sponsored by Audible. If you'd like to go to Audible and click on that, we'd appreciate the support. You can go to our website and click on a link and get a special price and get 2 months for free. We have an amazing guest with us today. She lives in Houston, right where I live. She has not one but 2 books out. Her first book was Nude, Unveiling Your Inner Beauty and Sensuality. And her latest book is Naked in 30 Days. Now, that book sounds provocative, but it's a 1-month guide to getting your body and mind and spirit in shape. So it's not just your body, it's your mind and spirit, which I just love that. So she's going to talk about, first of all, her journey in writing and how she got her books published and what inspired her to writing, to give you great tips for the authors. So welcome, Theresa. Thank you so much for joining us today. We can't wait to hear your story.
Thank you for having me, Melanie. I appreciate it.
And I have to say, you are joining us from your closet, and just tell us the brief closet story. Everybody has to know the closet story before we get started.
Well, I'd always been known for having beautiful closets, and so when I built this home, I said, why not build a closet so big I can actually have the charity events in the closet, because that's where the women want to be anyways. And so I was inspired by that, and I built a 3,000 square foot closet that's 3 different floors, and I can usually fit at least 100 women in here, and we sip champagne around the champagne bar, and it's just a lot of fun. We raise a lot of money.
I love it.
That's so fun. Awesome.
So tell us how you got started with your very first book. What inspired you, and how did you go through the writing process of that?
Well, that was an uphill battle, it seemed like. A girlfriend of mine, her and I decided we were going to write a book together because I had over 30 years of experience in the fitness industry, and she had over 30 years of experience in the beauty industry. So we decided to write this book together called Nude, Unveiling Your Inner Beauty and Sensuality. And it's really a book about helping a woman find herself again and be the best that she can be, regardless of what size she is or anything else. And it's a quick read, but it basically takes you through beauty tips and health and fitness tips. And it's one of those things where I tell women, you can lock yourself in a bathroom in the bubble bath and get a glass of champagne, and in an hour and a half, you'll be done reading the book, and you'll come out of the bathroom saying, I am woman, hear me roar.
Love that.
But when we finished the book, we really shopped it out there, and we really couldn't find any takers for it. So we decided to self-publish, and we chose Author House, and it was quite an ordeal. It really wasn't as fun as we thought it was going to be. We had to jump through a lot of hoops and so on and so forth, but it was different. It was different.
Yeah, and some people find that if you don't have the right publisher, it can be painstaking. And like I say, it's not fun. So I love when some of our authors, we have several that have called us and said, that was so much fun. That was so easy. And bam, all of a sudden I'm a bestseller. And so I think when you do find that right mix, it should be an easy process. What were some of the hurdles that you had to overcome with the publisher?
Well, they kind of connect you with someone you don't know, and that person doesn't know you, and they really aren't that familiar with your book and what you want or what you expect out of it. And so you really feel disconnected. Like there's just you just feel like you're dealing with a stranger, and they don't have your best interest at heart, and you just really, I don't know, it just seemed like. And maybe it was because we were first-time authors too, and maybe we didn't know what to expect. I don't know, but it just wasn't a fun experience. It just seemed like we were constantly battling to try to get anything to happen, and so it was a sigh of relief when we finally got done with that.
I bet. Then how did you go about promoting that book?
Well, we didn't get as much help from Author House as we wanted, and that was another letdown. We really thought from the package that we had chosen, we really felt that they were going to help us promote a lot, and we never got as much promotion as they somewhat promised us. And so it was basically up to us. Of course, we couldn't afford, PR agents and all of that at that time because we were just nobodies. And so it was really up to us to get out there and try to promote it the best we could, try to have book signings, do what we could on social media. Of course, at that time, we didn't really know what we were doing on social media either. So you just felt like you were blind and helpless. And it's like, we didn't want to be one of those people that, just like everybody else, you write a book and so what, it sits in your garage and collects dust. It was like so sad that we ended up being one of those people, and shortly after the book was released, our company fell apart. My best friend and my co-author, she just up and went through horrible things in her life and disappeared. And so unfortunately, the promotion of that book just didn't go as far as I anticipated it to go.
So what would you say are the top things that you learned from that book to now the new book that you have out? We'll stick with promotion. What do you feel like you did differently and what you learned and integrated?
Well, I learned, be careful, really be selective of who you pick to be your co-author, number one. Number two, I think I would have done even more research on, if I was going to self-publish, I would have done even more research on who to finally pick. I think at that point we were just so anxious to get it published that we just, we checked a couple out and, oh, this one looks good, and we just jumped into the frying pan with them. I think, looking back now, I think you should take more time, do more research, and really decide who you want to jump in bed with, to publish that book, because it really does mean success or failure when it comes to that publishing company, because they really have to fulfill what they promise that they're going to do. And I don't feel like we got that with Author House. And I by no means want to badmouth anybody or any publisher or anything, but we didn't have a really good experience.
All right. So now, who published your latest book? Naked.
Oh, gosh, you just caught me off the top of my head. Riverdale Avenue Books in New York City.
Okay. And so you feel like that went smoother for you?
Well, yeah, and it was a totally different experience because I was just sitting at my house one day doing my thing, and I got this phone call from this publisher from Riverdale Avenue Books and Publishing, and she said, we've known about you for a while. You've been on our radar, and we have this idea for this book, and we think you're the fitness expert for this book. And I was like, whoa. Oh, okay.
I'm wondering if they had even found you or followed you from your first book was part of the reason they had picked you for this other book.
Yes. And so I had been on their radar for quite a few years, and so they decided after all their research that I was actually the fitness expert that they wanted to write this book. They already had a name in mind. They just needed the fitness expert / author. And so they said, here's the name of the book. Would you like to do it for us? And I said, oh my gosh, yeah. And so the writing journey began, and I started writing it, and they were absolutely phenomenal to work with.
All right, so now give us some tips about the writing journey. Do's and don'ts, pros and cons, things that worked for you to get your content out.
Well, it's like, I always try to tell everybody, maybe not everyone's like me, but I have a ton of information in my head. Like I have so much information in my head, but I'm not the best writer in the world. Like I can't figure out how to put that story together to make it, to have it make sense. And so Riverdale graciously had a ghostwriter in mind to help me with that process. And it was, like I said, it was an amazing process because literally the ghostwriter would just spend hours and hours and hours with me gathering all the information, and I would send her tons and tons of notes and and pages and pages of information, and what scribble scrabble I had, she made sense of, you know. And I was just like, wow, she just, you know, she made it on paper look exactly like it sounded coming out of my head. It was amazing.
That's awesome. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I'm sorry, and so maybe not everyone in the world would need that help, but I did, and it was very nice of them to provide me with that, and it just made the experience so much more enjoyable.
Well, it's great, and I think that the point of that too is to make sure that you have a good relationship with your editor, ghostwriter, that where you connect in that level, that she really could understand what you were saying and put it down and make it so it is still your words. So it's great.
And it's
I mean, it was
content out is to have a ghostwriter. Some people think, oh, I have to sit at the computer and write all this stuff myself, but you can connect and have that partnership with the editor ghostwriter where you are just bombarding them with a bunch of ideas and different information and things you've copied and pasted, maybe even from articles or stories that you know, to get your book out there. It's a great way to create your content.
Yes, and like I said, it was so much fun to, when I finally read it, to go, wow, she took exactly what I was saying, word for word, but put it so smoothly into sentences that it literally came out. But it made this, you know, she just made the story complete. Where I was coming out with, oh, I talk about this, and then I talk about that, and then I talk about this, and then she would just put it all together, and it just so smoothly. I would love to do it again. It was phenomenal.
Well, let me ask you now, once you had the book out, how do you feel with both of these books that you've been able to use them as a platform or a brand to propel yourself for other goals and businesses?
Well, you know, I've been in the fitness industry my whole entire life. I started in the fitness industry while I was in high school even. And so what's fun about the books that I do is it's to me, it's a platform of health and fitness, still trying to, even though I'm no longer a personal trainer, I still find that my books are still a way to help hundreds of thousands of millions of people in the health and fitness industry and try to still help promote healthiness and try to get people, you know, because 20 years ago, we learned that obesity was on the rise and we should all do something about it. And now 20 years later, we're even worse off than we were 20 years ago. And so my goal is to still try to help as many people as I can, even though I'm not personally training them anymore. I can still, with my knowledge, try to help people get healthy and get fit and live longer and have a much more enjoyable life. And with that, it's helped propel me into being able to start my own fitness wear line, and I have an app coming out in a couple weeks. And so I find that my books are still helping me stay on this platform of continuing to help people by the millions.
Awesome. Tell us more about your app that you have coming out.
Well, the app is it's all going to be about fitness and health. And I mean, like, you know, there's a million apps out there, but my app's going to be a little bit different. We can't give away all the secrets right now before we launch it, but it's definitely going to be an amazing app. It's going to incorporate a lot of fashion into it also, because I have a fitness wear line and stuff. So it's going to be an amazing app. I can't give away too much right now because we haven't launched it, and they don't want me to give all the secrets out because we want to keep the suspense in there. But I have a lot of fans and a lot of followers, and so it's just going to be, and they've been begging for it. So I listen to my fans and my followers, and we're coming out with it. So they're going to be happy.
Great. So it'll be on iTunes and on Google?
Yes. Yes.
Great.
So before we wrap up, give us your top 3 tips on how to get naked.
Well, you know, number one,
feel comfortable, feel confident being naked.
There you go.
Right, but you know, I try to tell people, number one, you know, you've got to feel good in your own skin, and whether that's losing some weight to feel good in your own skin, or whether that's just feeling better about yourself in your own skin. But you know, naked is not always about being physically naked. Sometimes it's about emotionally being naked. And so in the book, when I talk about being naked, it's not just physical, it's spiritual, and it's emotional, and it's mental. You know, sometimes it's letting go of all of that excess baggage that we have carried around for years and years and years. Sometimes it's finally time to release all of that baggage and get naked and just be vulnerable and let it all come out. And it's so refreshing and empowering to have that happen. It just, you know, like I said, we all get bogged down with too much excess baggage that we've carried around maybe since childhood. And to finally get naked like a banana and peel back all those layers and just become vulnerable, it's a very empowering feeling. And to prove my point, I literally stood naked in Times Square for the back cover of my book, because that was probably the most empowering thing I could ever do at the age of 54 at 10% body fat. Just stand naked in Times Square. It's just empowering.
Awesome.
Holy cow, they didn't arrest you. That's good.
That's really brave.
Right. That is the epitome of a hot chick writes a hot book.
Yeah.
Naked in Times Square.
I love it.
Well, Theresa, thank you so much. Tell us where we can find you. We have your website up there, but just tell us the best way if people want to find your books, to know more about you and get connected to you.
You can find me at theresaroemer.com. Basically, my book is sold there. I also have my book available on nakedin30days.com. I am all over social media, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat. I am everywhere. So I'm not hard to find.
Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for being a hot chick who writes a hot book. We appreciate it. And yours really fits that bill.
Thank you, Melanie.
Make sure that y'all share this, leave us a great review, send it to all your friends, especially anyone who's inspired that wants to write. I think this is a great story of self-publishing turning into having a publisher find you afterwards. Very inspirational, and some really good tips on really looking for a good publisher. And if you are looking for a great publisher, please contact us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. Jen, you want to say goodbye?
See you, everybody.
See you next time. Thanks.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Melanie.
For more information about us, go to eliteonlinepublishing.com. To get your free book, The Accomplishment and Success Story Starter, simply text your name and email to 832-572-5285. That's 832-572-5285. We'd also like to thank Audible for supporting Elite Expert Insider. To get your free 30-day trial, please go to bit.ly/Elite Audible. That's bit.ly/Elite Audible. And get your free 30-day trial to show your support. Thank you, Audible.